A professor from Wuhan University showed no sympathy and ridiculed President Trump after he contracted the CCP-Virus.
Jing Canrong, a professor at Renmin University, tried to distract attention from the CCP-Virus.
A citizen of Beijing alerted the public of CCP-Virus outbreak. She was detained by the police for spreading rumors. The propaganda called it a bomber crop, but the crop production is devastated. In fact, most areas in Shuhua Heilongjiang are like this, all destroyed. Peasants in lawsuits filmed footage of the devastation in classrooms, but the director didn't promise to control violence and damages to crop production. The director said there is no reduction in crop production. Look at the crop crops and the damages. Is this a bomber crop? A heavy thunderstorm was killed on 4 hours on October 7th. Heilongjiang province experienced a super high thunderstorm. Weather experts the city.
The CCP thuggish urban management officers openly robbed the people's properties. Urban management officers robbed a common person and also beat up an old lady. A man in urban management uniform kicked an old lady. In another footage, the old lady who was kicked collapsed on the road. A lot of eggs were smashed.
It's not a joke. I don't know what more or how much more I could express. Hello everybody. I know we're always best to get on Facebook to talk about the things that we're doing in life, partying, getting drunk, not taking life for granted. As of Tuesday, I have been admitted to the hospital for COVID. Never in my life.
We believe that a sound and stable China-US relationship is in the interest of both countries, and it is needed for achieving the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and building a community with a
有人说我不应该在川普得了新冠以后幸灾乐祸，但我就想说，在中国疫情严重的时候，川普在这幸灾乐祸，所以现在川普得了新冠，我只想对他说，恭喜你冠。
A CCP's representative threatened students not to learn Western democracy and freedom. A conference for Chinese students in Germany. We all talk about the problems in our dorms. You know the problems by yourself. What German state doesn't match my requirements. Who should you listen to? If you don't obey me, but listen to them. Okay, let me tell you clearly. When you cannot graduate from high school, I don't care what you will do in German. Even if you graduated from high school, you want to attend a college. You need a guarantor for housing rentals. If you don't obey me, I won't help you because you refuse to obey my words. Is that clear? As a top director, I cannot control the program. I cannot control your parents, who are the guardians. I can only control you. The bullshit democracy or freedom is irrelevant to us. Don't talk about democracy or freedom with me. You cannot enjoy that even if you live in Germany, because you are Chinese. When you return to China with German democracy and freedom, to Chinese, you will be for all problems. so democracy is not a good thing. Don't use it to dispute with me here. It is not our stuff. For so many years, which country in Asia has practiced Western democracy and freedom? It's impossible. If we accept such values, we are completely ruled by them. That's it. So we have our own culture. It is important to stick to our own culture. The purpose you're here is to learn, happy and healthy learning. Then be able to graduate from high school with good grades. You can study whatever you want in university. And do what you want to do when you graduate. That's it.
Kristen Fisher's live outside of the hospital there in Bethesda, Maryland. Kristen, a lot to take in and an update from the doctors as well.
Yes, Sandra. Well, over the last few hours, there's been a great deal of confusion over how exactly President Trump is doing. It started with that briefing earlier today from the president's doctor and his medical team here at Walter Reed. But then we got this statement from a senior administration official, somebody very close to President Trump, who said something not totally opposite, but very close. It made it sound that President Trump was in a much more serious state than the doctors led us to believe during that briefing. Well, since then, we have been working our sources, working the phones, and our John Roberts was able to get in touch with a senior administration official who really tried to clarify exactly what was meant in that statement. And I want to read it to you in full. This senior administration official says that, quote, 24 hours ago, there was real concern about the president's vitals. For the past 12 hours, there has been zero concern. Early indications are for an extremely good prognosis, but the next 48 hours will be critical. Now compare that to what the president's doctor, Dr. Sean Conley, said just earlier today.
This morning, the president is doing very well. The team and I are extremely happy with the progress the president has made. Thursday, he had a mild cough and some nasal congestion and fatigue, all of which are now resolving and improving.
You know, it was so concerning yesterday when President Trump, who we all know loves to tweet, wasn't tweeting at all or hardly at all. So today, though, we've gotten a few tweets from President Trump, including this one just about an hour ago. He tweeted, quote, "Our great USA wants and needs stimulus. Work together and get it done. Thank you." So there you have a tweet from the president that sounds certainly a lot more like the president that we all know so well. He tweeted earlier today that he's feeling very
This was something that happened, and it's happened to millions of people all over the world, and I'm fighting for them. Not just in the U.S., I'm fighting for them all over the world. We're going to beat this coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it, and we're going to beat it soundly.
The president would have contracted coronavirus potentially last Saturday at an event where he announced his replacement to the Supreme Court. It then started to show itself seriously, potentially, after the debates on Wednesday. And then he ended up, of course, going to the hospital very early Thursday morning, and then we are where we are now.
But, mate, I suspect there's something else we don't know at the minute. There's something going on behind the scenes. My political sixth sense tells me there's something else going on. I can't put my finger on it, but it all doesn't add up to me at the minute. The train of events, the timeline, the people infected, there's something bigger at play here. I'm not saying there's some conspiracy. There's just information that we don't know that I feel will come out in the next few days, which will put a different emphasis on what's been happening in the last few days.
Our economy has to come back. For the good of our children, we get this economy back. And we assert ourselves as the most powerful nation on earth. Because otherwise, you know who will? The country that attacked us, China. Mm-hmm. And they attacked us with
Bingo,
this.
Mr. Mayor.
Believe me. Yeah. I hold them responsible. I hold them responsible for what happened to my president yesterday. Well, it was the day before yesterday, and everybody else.
This is the Vatican's deal with the devil, the second part of our special day. Milesguo on to first to give a warning to America about the Chinese Communist Party, and it's time America started to wake up. Liz, yours, my co-host, she's been giving a warning about the Chinese Communist Party's secret deal with the Vatican. I want to now go to someone who's had to live under the boot of the Chinese Communist Party, and that is Jasmine. She joins us on the phone Jasmine, can you tell our American audience what it's like to be a Christian, a professed Christian, and have to live under the authoritarian rule of the atheistic Marxist government in Beijing of the Chinese Communist Party?
Hi, Mr. Stephen Bannon. Thank you for having me again. Yes, we all know that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't respect any religion, and yet they're controlling all the churches in China under the Free Self-Patriotic Church umbrella. So any church that doesn't compromise with their leadership, they will be labeled and subject as illegal churches and will be subject to a crackdown. And many faithful believers and the church leaders don't want to compromise their doctrine. So they then seek the alternative of getting into underground churches, family worship, but the government is always constantly cracking down these worship sites in forcing you to join the patriotic church. And if you don't, some of the leaders would be subject to arrest. But despite all this, the church...
Jasmine, let me ask you, in mainland China, does the Chinese Communist Party hold itself up as God and she as a God? I mean, did they really let any Christians or Buddhists or Catholics, did they really let anybody that has a spiritual inclination worship in the manner they want, or did they hold the Chinese Communist Party up as basically God and she as a God?
Well, what the Chinese Communist Party is doing, certainly they are considering themselves as God. That's why they force people to post Communist Party as a red flag, and also taking off the cross. Now, well, just look at the international song that the Communist Party teaching everyone. Since we were in kindergarten, we're forced to learn with memory. It says, no saviors from on high believers. No faith have way in prince and peer. So they want everyone to worship the CCP, their leader, as the God.
Jasmine, this is Liz Yor. I was wondering, we have been hearing that the persecution is being ramped up, not only against Catholics in the underground church, but even Catholics in the patriotic church, and that any bishops that are not joining the patriotic church or priests are being arrested, detained, and tortured. What do you hear?
Exactly. So that anybody who doesn't want to compromise with the leadership of the patriotic church, whether you're underground or in the open church, you are subject to their persecution. They can label you as illegal anytime they want.
Let me ask you this. What's the impact of the new law that is not allowing children to even worship anymore, anybody under the age of 18?
This is not a new law. It's ever been since it's there. They don't allow children to worship under 18. They claim it as a brainwash. They don't allow the church to brainwash anybody younger than 18. So during the worship time, if you bring children under 18, they're being asked to a separate room. They're not allowed to sing church hymnals. They're not allowed to listen to the sermon. They're just kept there as a nursery room.
Jasmine, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Your reports on what it's like to be a professed Christian in communist China is always very moving. I want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And we'll pray for President Trump and the First Lady for their quick recovery. The almighty hand and the healing hand of God will carry them through this stressful time. And we love you, Stephen Bannon, Mr. Stephen Bannon.
Thank you, Jasmine. Really appreciate the prayers for President Trump. Liz Yor, this is what I don't get. We have Jasmine and hundreds of these people from the whistleblower movement, the new federal state, that come on the show every Saturday for months and months and months. It's obvious what the Chinese Communist Party does. It's obvious. And you look at what these devils do. They will not let the little children. What did Christ say in the Sermon on the Mount? Right? Let the little children come to him. They particularly don't let the children hear the word of God. Right? And this is just not for Christianity or for Catholics. It's for the Tibetan Buddhists. It's for the Uyghurs. It's for the Falun Gong. They don't want any spiritual yearning, no spiritual teachings. These are bloodthirsty monsters. How can the Vatican, how can the Vicar of Christ be in a deal with these people?
It's incomprehensible. The CCP is literally eliminating faith in one generation. There will be no religions. They're wiping it out among children 18 and under.
Miles, this is very disturbing because officially, for the world to consume, President Xi is saying, "Oh, we hope that President Trump recovers quickly. We hope that Melania recovers quickly." But then you look at the official People's Daily, Global Times, they're much nastier. But what you've allowed us to see is saying that social media and what the CCP is telling the people of China is absolutely brutal. They're really laughing about it and celebrating it. It's celebratory that Trump is now infected with the virus. Can you tell us what's going on in China?
Sir, you need, Trump president announced this, get the virus. How long Xi Jinping gave the letter, say, how long? They say, why is the more than 30 hours, after 30 hours, they give the letter, say, oh, hope the president, can get better, right? Before I know the inside, what has happened. The inside, they are thinking maybe we need waiting. We don't need to give how can I see this the letter?
We don't need to put a letter saying nice things. Let's just hold.
I know Xi Jinping wants to just think maybe we need to prepare. Call what is this one? This is the 3到4怎么说了？ammonia. The morning. This is the intelligence. This is not the killing. I can face it to Xi Jinping want to say maybe we prepare morning. That is their inside. All the China media, official media, social media, laughing, celebrity, all the restaurants give you discount, the congratulations, God give our gifts. God give gifts. Why did
so
National Day?
You're saying that since it happened on National Day, the CCP saying this is a gift from God.
Yeah.
And they're actually saying in restaurants and bars, you get a discount today because Trump's got the virus.
Yeah.
Trump tweeted a video Saturday evening thanking the center's staff, adding that he feels much better now. Senior official admits COVID-19 outbreak likely began at Supreme Court announcement. Growing number of top Republicans diagnosed with coronavirus. Around to implement stricter restrictions as COVID-19 cases mount. Spanish capital Madrid placed under partial lockdown. Republican Senator Majority Leader McConnell says confirmation hearing for Supreme Court nominee will proceed as planned. Pence ordered the closure of U.S. borders. H&M is closing 250 stores amid coronavirus pandemic.